Hey guys, happy Saturday. I hope everybody's looking forward to a great weekend. Thanks for joining me today. I'm holding in my lap my Epiphone Les Paul, which was my first electric guitar. It looks all shiny and new in this video, but man, it's covered in dings and scratches and doesn't look as nice in person. This was, like I said, my first electric guitar. I got the Les Paul because I wanted to be Slash. But it's kind of fitting for the topic today. I'm going to talk about Black Sabbath, and that was a band that I really kind of cut my teeth on learning rock songs. So back in the day, that band supplied me with a whole bunch of songs and riffs to learn when I was just trying to figure out how the guitar was supposed to work. And for two reasons. Their catalog is pretty expansive. Their songs are iconic. And honestly, a lot of the early songs are pretty easy. And I don't mean that in a condescending or negative way whatsoever, but Tony Iommi would write songs off of basic chords and pretty simple chord progressions that a new player could really get to learn and play pretty proficiently without a whole lot of work. So a couple things I learned from his playing and from early Black Sabbath songs would be the power chord, or the emphasis on the power chord. He was one of those guys who could make a lot out of just a few chords. And while I'm not going to pretend he's the first person that ever did it, I think that he really made something of the 1 and the 5. The power chord is basically playing the first note and the fifth note in a scale. So if I was to play a G scale, a G minor scale, starting in the 3rd fret, it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You play the first note and the fifth note simultaneously. That's not actually a G, that's actually an E, because I have this detuned to C sharp, but normally the 3rd fret would be a G. So that sound together is what's called a power chord. And then you can keep that position and move it up the neck a whole step. So utilizing that type of a playing, the sky's the limit. You get to play a chord without having your fingers all over the place and having to strum the whole neck. It was a kind of a simple way to get the sound of a chord and move around quickly. So the other thing that he did that I really picked up on was the idea of a palm mute. And a palm mute is really what it sounds like. If I hold the guitar like this is the bridge of the guitar, and the tension of the strings really starts right here. And if I was to hold that same chord open and just pluck it, it resonates, it lasts a long time. If I rest my palm on the bridge and do it again, it doesn't resonate as well, and it has a lot more of a muffled kind of tone versus like that. So incorporating those two things together can give you some interesting sounds as you're playing. So that's Rock 101, the palm mute, the power chord, and I learned all of that stuff listening to Black Sabbath and trying to emulate those songs. One of my neighbors, his name was Corey. He was a big Black Sabbath fan. He's a few years older than me, but he was the only other person around my neighborhood that I knew that played guitar. And so, I always wanted to hear him play. He was a lot better than me. When I started, he knew some Metallica riffs and some Black Sabbath riffs. He showed me a few things. It was fun to learn that from him. But he was a big Black Sabbath fan, so I remember borrowing tab books that had a ton of songs in them. So yeah, I remember learning Paranoid was one of the first ones. That was a song that I really wanted to learn really quickly. So that was a big one. I used to play that a lot with my neighbors, Ben and Brady, and my brother Brett when we would jam. When I first learned to play the guitar, I forced anybody who I was close with to get an instrument so that we could play. So Brett got a bass guitar, and Ben got a drum set, and Brady had an electric guitar that he played with me on. So we learned Paranoid, and I remember learning Children of the Grave and a bunch of other really solid Black Sabbath songs. The one that I want to play today comes from the album Sabotage, and it's kind of I think it's a super underrated album. There's not a lot of songs from there that are as popular as what you'd hear on the radio, but what I love about the songs on Sabotage, I think that it really pushes Ozzy's vocals. Fire in the Sky and Symptom of the Universe, he's really pushing. And I think it's awesome. There's a lot of underrated songs on there, and the one I'm going to play today is Symptom of the Universe. The riff that kind of starts that up, I swear it could have been an Anthrax riff 10 years later. It's a straight up thrash metal style riff, and I love it. And this is Symptom of the Universe.
It repeats itself a lot, but it's super heavy. That is Symptom of the Universe. Cheers.